Welcome everyone to this Venus Alchemy introduction to the foundational Venus signature series. This is such an amazing class that Tami and I have put together. And we've been teaching this for a few years now, and both of us have had tremendous, amazing experiences along with the people who have taken this class. So we'll share a little bit more of as we go along. So we're going to start with Venus star phases.
Yes, so Venus star phases are basically, this is where we break it down and we say, okay, are you born when Venus is morning star? Are you born when Inanna is in the underworld, or when she is evening star? Were you born when Venus is in a phase we refer to as metamorphic? And we'll explore what all this means. Metamorphic underworld, sorry. So there's different phases that you can be born into depending on the moment of your birth into the Venus cycle. And each of these phases describes, among other things, what your personal, it can describe how you show up immediately. It can also describe what your actual initiatory journey looks like. And it's absolutely life-changing to understand this information in a deep kinesthetic way, because it's an embodied understanding. And that's how we bring it to you in this course. So I'm going to share, and Cayelin, we're both going to share briefly the way that this has affected our own personal lives. So Cayelin, you want to start with that?
Yeah, just to say that a lot of people just look at morning star, evening star. They do not look at the underworld phase. They do not look at the metamorphic underworld phase. So this is something that we're bringing to this that has not been seen before. And the people that are born into these phases of the cycle are so incredibly grateful for this understanding. So I just wanted to add that. So I am born in the evening star phase, and this is near the end of the cycle. Venus rises up as fully initiated. And so this is what we've learned, is that this is where we add Earth. So no matter what sign your Venus is in, we're adding the qualities of Earth, meaning she is fully initiated. She's taking her time to make decisions. She's thinking before she's acting. So I have Venus in Aries, one that tends to act before she thinks, but because I have evening star, it balances that out quite a lot. And this has been such a great understanding for me, because sometimes I would think I don't really act that much like Venus in Aries all the time. And there's other reasons for that. As we go along through the signature, we'll maybe explain a little bit more about that. But anyway, this whole understanding of what star phase I was born into just helped me to be more relaxed and appreciative of how my Venus shows up differently than maybe somebody who's Venus in Aries as a morning star.
Awesome. Beautiful. Thank you, Cayelin. So yeah, and that's a really specific way. And for me, part of what's come through is that, okay, so my Venus is in Sagittarius. And, that really does show up often, but also I've got Neptune right on my Venus, so that really affects things. So later on in this course, we'll also talk about planets to Venus. That's important. But in terms of the phase, there's something really interesting about being born morning star. I was born when Venus was morning star. And so with that, the way that I feel it, and it's a kinesthetic thing, is that I understand the way the journey works. I understand the way the Inanna descent story also works, and that as a literal understanding of the way my initiatory life path works. And I'm morning star, which means that I show up super bright and positive and idealistic and all these kind of yang qualities of morning star. But there's a deeper octave of who I am that has to do with the realization that even though it's scary for me, it's also courageous for me to go to the depths, for me to be willing to kind of surrender who I think I am, to become more in soul, to become more embodied, to move toward Earth. That is my trajectory. So it's a deeper kind of initiatory mystery school kind of understanding that we get when we really dive deeply into each of these star phases.
It's such a cool aspect that has really illuminated for people. And then not only do we have those main four phases, but within those phases, we can have what we call inner star phases. So you might be born at a personal chakra gate, either in the descent or the ascent, and that has its unique meaning. Or you maybe are born in a between time where you're not at a gate, but you're also not, it's like there's nothing specific that we could look at, it's like Venus is maybe retrograde, or maybe is about to go retrograde, or has gone direct but hasn't gone through a gate yet. We see this as a between time, and it is a powerful time of alchemy. So we look at that as well in a very deep, powerful way.
Awesome. And then another layer here that's also unique to the way we work with Venus has to do with what we refer to as the meta-goddess. When we talk about a meta-goddess, we are referring to the sign that Venus is the overtone or the sign of Venus throughout her whole 584-day, her whole synodic cycle, which is about 19 months, 1.5 years. The sign she rises in as morning star, we see that as the meta-goddess, or the expression of the feminine, or the goddess who is on the world stage, going through a descent, a death, rebirth, initiation. And so then the question becomes, for each individual person, who is my meta-goddess? What larger Venus cycle was I born into? And how does she guide my life? How has she shown up at the most pivotal moments in my life experience? And how can I learn to listen more deeply to who she is and her counsel in my life now?
And this is so amazing, because it adds another dimension to our understanding of our Venus signature that is so revealing and helpful to people to really get that. So then in this course, what we start doing is taking a deep dive into other factors that flavor our Venus signature. So the moon, representing our ancient expression of the goddess, or the expression of the goddess we come in with, that we already know and we are familiar with, as being the one that we're learning about in this lifetime. And so, who's the present goddess? She's our Venus signature. How does she shine? What's the energy, the fuel? What does she use to, discover what her a special, unique expression is? And then how does she rise? Like, we look at the ascendant as the mystery school of current life intent. How does your feminine, whether you're a man or a woman, so the inner feminine for men, and the emerging feminine for women, is like, how is she going into that mystery school? And so how does she show up there? And so it gives just such a rich context to understand that more deeply.
Beautiful. So, and then the next layer of the class that we offer is to look more deeply at the way that the outer planets, in their aspect to Venus, how does that act as kind of a master teacher? How do each of those master teachers show up in helping to shape and ignite and bring alive within us our own inner archetype of the goddess? Whether we're male or female, it shows up in a different way. But for men, it's like, how does this planet help me to ensure that I am owning, claiming, and bringing into my life the inner feminine to serve the full empowerment of my masculine archetype? For women, it's how am I here to literally embody this goddess, this feminine principle?
And as Tami mentioned earlier, she has Neptune for Venus conjunct. I have Neptune opposite my Venus. So of course that is, both of us experience the Neptune flavoring of what our Venus is about. Yes. Making her more empathic, kinder. It's like all that fire is, now also operating with water. I have focused so much on that Neptunian piece for myself, that the piece that I often had overlooked until we did this class was how Uranus is also aspecting my Venus. And getting a deeper insight into that, like, oh, I need to also pay attention to how Uranus is influencing me and has influenced me my whole life. I just wasn't necessarily paying attention to that. So these outer planet guides, they are teachers, they are guides, they are helping us to understand something from a different perspective that we bring into, and it becomes part of the signature of our Venus. So
exciting.
Yes.
So those are the main, that's obviously just a little tiny snapshot of what we offer. There's so much depth, there's so much richness in all of this. I mean, we went all out with our Aries, all out to support you in all the ways we can to understand how, with really our deeper desire is to help you to fully step into and ignite and activate and drop into this goddess archetype and her multidimensional aspects, and to really bring her alive. And we've seen that when it happens with individual clients and in this course itself. And it's just so powerful, and it's so needed in our world right now.
Yes, and you also at the very end created a whole synthesis, a way for people to synthesize everything and bring it into a clear understanding that they can work with. So that's the very last class that we do in this series. So we would love to have you join us, as we are going to be having some live Q&A. So this class is already recorded, but we're going to have some live Q&A so people can come with their questions and get a deeper insight for themselves personally, as well as maybe even more generally, depending on whatever that's going to look like for them. So
we'll bring in the live component. We'll also bring in new insights that we're getting, and so we'll just make it come alive. But also, this course has never been offered in this way before. We've really brought it together in a way that's really easy to access, and we're super excited about it.
Yes, we'd love to have you join us. If you want to find out more, you can go to venusalchemy.com, click on the classes, and then the Foundational Venus Signature Series class, and you'll get even more details about what each class is about and how we're doing that.
Awesome. All right.